Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from diverse perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 237, Intention, Not Resolutions. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host, and I'm here today in 818 Studios with my producer.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Croft. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Authentic Spiritual Journey. As always, I want to welcome you to a brand new week and a brand new year. It is 2023. And for better or worse, 2022 is in the rear view, and I'm looking forward to a stellar year. We were talking about this a little bit, before we started recording. Is 2022 had its own set of challenges? Obviously, for everybody.
Yes. Let's just say 2019 through 2022 had its challenges.
Yeah, so those 3 years have been the longest year ever. And
exactly,
just feeling as the world in 2022 tried to return to some semblance of normal, we're still feeling the reverberations and tax implications of.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Property taxes and all of that from COVID.
Always at the end of the year, and I talked a little bit about this last year, because it usually starts for me in like late November that I start kind of wistfully looking back at the year, because I'm always thinking, could I have done this better? Could I have been a better mom? Was I in integrity with my dreams and goals? Did I show up for myself and my family, my community? So I always have a real look back, and it's pretty heartfelt usually, that look back. But as I'm reflecting, and this has come to me several times, I was thinking about starting the year, because I had last year, because I had a few things come up that I wasn't expecting. And that's what you're referring to, Dave, that we were talking about before the show, was that, and I remember I even shared it on the air because it was such a shock that at the beginning of last year, between tax, escrow, and all that, the bank had really grossly underestimated, not just underestimated, but grossly underestimated the taxes that I was going to, be paying on my new home. And I love my home and I love the neighborhood and everything. So it was a huge financial stretch last year. Yeah. And it was pretty amazing because as I was looking back, I thought, I am actually debt-free except for my house, nothing, no debt, except for the house. And I'm working on that. And now this year, the payment will go down. So I can't, actually, I guess I just paid my January payment.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was a lot less. Because what happens when the bank does that, if this has never happened to you, let me tell you, it isn't fun. What happens if the bank doesn't charge you enough on the first year, the next year you get to pay it.
Yeah, and our mortgage went up because, during COVID, all the property values went completely haywire, and they're still,
they did.
That's still reverberating.
Yeah.
But, so the bank says, hey, based off of last year's taxes, this is what we estimate your taxes for next year is going to be. And so we're going to add that to your mortgage payment or remove it from your mortgage payment so your payment can kind of fluctuate. Well, they grossly, like you said, underestimated for 2020 and then, or I guess it would have been 2021 and then tacked it onto 2022's payments.
Right. Yeah.
And so mine went up and yours went up almost double what mine was. And so we're still...
Yeah, it was a shock. As a matter of fact, mine went up so much, I thought it was a mistake. I said, this cannot be legal. But what's so interesting looking back is how Spirit provided. Right. And, I am amazed. So I say Spirit. So let me say, I put myself in alignment with every prosperity principle I know. And I'm always tithing, I'm always giving, I'm always forgiving, I'm always setting goals. So I really got about it and said, is there any place I'm out of integrity? Because I want to really make sure that my spending is in line with my income. And so I got busy looking at, okay, what's happening on my credit card every month that I'm kind of going to sleep. I went unconscious about, like, I don't know how many TV subscriptions I need, Hulu, HBO, anyway.
Netflix.
So I went through all that. But so I did, friends, adjust, what I was spending, not by a lot though, considering how much my payment, because my payment went up over $700 a month. And it's a good thing that I do live within my means. Otherwise, I would have had to sell. And that happened to my neighbor. It was a single mom with 2 kids, and she simply could not afford it. Well, the good news is she sold at the height of the housing market, in the last few years and made a lot of money. But then what is she going to be able to buy?
Yeah.
She couldn't go buy another home. So saying all that, I'm saying all this to say that this is an important time of year, and it's a time not for resolutions, but for spiritual intention. And when we can ground our dreams, our goals, our desires in this spiritual world, allowing the spiritual practices, allowing the spiritual intention to ground us in what we're here to do and what we're here to be, friends, I just have to say things work out.
Yeah.
There's a statement in the Bible that says, all things work together for good for those who love God. And I believe that to be true 100%, because as I looked back, I wanted to finish that thought that as I looked back on 2022, and it started at the end of November for me, I was amazed at what I was able to accomplish, given the unexpected. I was amazed at the trips I was able to take, at the new clients that came in, at the goals I was able to manifest, at the bills I was able to pay, that I was able to provide for my family in a beautiful way, that I was able to make updates to my home as well as handle that higher payment. So what I'm saying is, friends, as I am prone to say and love saying, God is your source.
Mm-hmm. And God knew all of that because you were positioned, at Unity North Tampa before all of that happened.
Oh, exactly.
So it was no surprise, right?
Right. I was like, oh, that's why God guided me to take on a new job. I needed one.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Shannon and I, we've launched a business on top of everything, and that community is going really, really well, and excited about that.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
We would have been in trouble if we didn't have that.
Yep.
Helping us out. And so
yeah.
That's not why we did it. But when you look back, as we are wont to do here at the beginning of a new year, we're kind of looking back, taking inventory on last year, and you can kind of see how, I was absolutely provided for all along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And when to me, the new year is a really potent time to be able to see what's ahead of you. Like, Dave, I remember you saying to me one time that you love to get up early because, in fact, in the morning, you feel like the whole day is like this empty road right in front of you. And I feel that way at the beginning of the year. It's like, okay, what do I want to accomplish? And what I know is it's not just me, but people around the world are going, okay, new year, new me, baby.
I mean, that's what resolutions are about. That's why gym memberships go up exponentially for the month of, Weight Watchers enrollment. All of that happens because people are looking to become better versions of themselves.
Yes. And although research shows, I mean, I think I've shared this every year that, less than 3% of the world remembers their resolution 5 days in.
Right. Let alone keeps them. Yeah. So
yeah.
So
I had
which is why the show is called Intention and not resolutions. We're not here to I'm going to, swear less at the drivers, right? I mean, that's a good thing to do, right? Eating
that's
right.
A good idea.
That's a good idea, but that's not the spirit behind what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, I had a dear friend in ministerial school. When I moved to Kansas City, I was getting to know a lot of other ministers because I moved there before I was quite ready for school. I still had to finish some classes. And I met this minister, a really great guy. And I was asking him about, where's the local gym and do you work out? Because, I've always tried to take pretty good care of my body and everything. And Anyway, so he was telling me about the gym, and I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, how much is the membership? And he goes, well, if you base it on how often I go, it's about $500 a visit. He goes, but the monthly fee is actually quite reasonable. And that's how most of us do resolutions.
Yep.
I mean, what I love is the idea this time of year of, I have this whole year ahead of me. What am I able to do and be? And so I love the idea of some general intentions, right? To be really conscious. And when I say conscious, what I'm meaning is the difference between resolutions and intention, in my view, is that resolutions are kind of wishes without any commitment. Like, I want to do better. I want to be better. But a spiritual intention means I've taken time to be quiet. I have taken time to search my soul a little bit for what I am to do and be. And then I'm going to begin to see what is wanting to come forward from me, for me, and for the universe itself. So what I know about you as our listeners is that you are people that want to make a difference. You are people that want the world to work. You're willing to learn new things. You're willing to evolve yourself. You're willing to get some new skills. You're willing to even, get some education. So your intention is super important about what you're here to do and be. And of course, this feeds into the work I do with my Dream Big, Live Big program. And I would be remiss to not mention that. Dream Big, Live Big does start this Thursday. So if you are interested, there is still time to sign up. And it is such an incredible course. I've taken hundreds of people through it. And the number of people just living their dreams is pretty amazing. And this is the time where there's universal support for this idea. It's like the whole year is out there before you. Who do you want to do and be in this year? And it's not only about what you want, even though that's an important part of it. For me, it is deeper than what RCA wants. It's also, what am I called to do? Who am I called to be? So a lot of times we want things. And I just went through a period of wanting a classic truck. And I've always wanted a classic truck. My dad had one. And the other day, my girlfriend said to me, now, are you sure that's what you want? Because you keep looking at this over here. And I was like, I do? So I had to readjust and say, am I looking to the past in this desire? It was really interesting. Or am I looking forward?
I got to chime in here. When I turned 30, or before I turned 30, I thought that I wanted, for my 30th birthday, a 1973 Beetle, like Volkswagen Beetle, to celebrate the year I was born, blah, blah, blah. And I pined on them. I researched them. I looked at them. I even had like the color I want. I want an orange Beetle. I wanted a 1973 Beetle. If I could get it convertible, even better.
Even better.
And so
those are cool cars.
Then came, I even looked I'm sure I could, I'm not mechanically minded, but how hard could it be, right? So I know, I hear you. If you've followed this show, you know how ridiculous that sounds. And I was like, this is amazing. I can't wait. And then a friend of mine had a Beetle and said, yeah, Dave, I'll let you drive it. No problem. Yeah. Test drive it, get in it. And I was like, yes, finally. I can't, this is going to be amazing. And then I sat in one. I'm 6'2", and at the time I was about 290. 6'2", 290.
In a
squeezing into a 1973 Volkswagen Beetle.
Uh-huh.
the dream died that day.
The music died.
I was just too darn big, and it wasn't comfortable. And so I was in love with the idea of it. I liked I like Beatles, and the idea was the year that I was born, blah, blah, blah. But it just wasn't a fit because I had worked in my head how amazing it was going to be. But it was when I put my butt in that seat that the universe finally went, okay, now you get it, Dave. You don't need this car. And that was the end of that. Now,
and that's lesson learned.
Yep.
But what's great about it, Dave, is you did, work with that desire. And this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. Sometimes the ego leads us down a road and we go, oh no.
Oh no.
and actually, I do love classic. I may get a classic, just not that.
Yep.
Just not that.
Just test drive it first.
Yeah. And it's been a wonderful experience to allow myself to do that. And so, and even the next show is going to be about, I believe, allow yourself to dream. And it's important. So we're inching up to this idea. But first of all, I want to help you dial back the idea of setting or of just saying, these are my New Year's resolutions. The only reason is I want you to be successful. And if you call them resolutions and have no spiritual consciousness around it, no prayer, no meditation, no journaling, no spiritual awareness of where this will take you, it will be a disappointment. I mean, ask me how I know. Right?
I'm also a client.
Right. I'm a client and a coach. Exactly. And I've just learned that it's so much more fun and rewarding to really have guidelines and a process to help me really claim those desires and goals. It also really helps to have accountability. And that's also a part of my Dream Big, Live Big program. I've actually shortened the course from 7 weeks to 5 this year because 7 weeks was a little hard. And those last 2 weeks, I collapsed a little bit because what I've discovered is I can do it in 5 weeks, and then the other work can be done with me individually because it starts to be a super individual process. And then you get some great individualized attention on your specific dreams and goals. Because at the beginning of the course, what you're simply learning to do is, allow your mind and your soul to expand into a new idea for yourself. And I've really learned recently that what most people do is just go through life never thinking this way. So I've learned that recently, and I'm kind of surprised at the number of people I've talked to who are like, yeah, I don't really, I'm just kind of like doing my job, and I get up the next day and do it again, and yeah, whatever, So, but I think for most of the people on the show that are listeners to this show and that are on the spiritual journey are saying, I want my life to matter. I want my life to be on purpose. I want my life to be a blessing. And certainly I want to be blessed and I want to grow. And so I really want to encourage you as you're thinking about this new year to think, what growth am I called to this year? What growth am I called to this year? That's really what your intentions need to be about. I think we could all have general intentions, like everybody wants to be healthy. Well, in today's language, it's good abs. But anyway, yeah, everybody wants to be healthy. But I think to forgive more, to give more, to be of service, these are all great intentions. But I'm talking about getting more specific, like dialing it down, but also taking your time and really thinking through what really matters to me and where do I see that growth is needed in my life? Like where do I keep, bumping it up against something I don't know? Like I remember years ago, when I was a teenager, I learned to play guitar, and I learned to play guitar for a trip to Brazil. And I was a student going to help a missionary. He was a pilot who flew in supplies. And I was there to help, be of service, do music. And that's when I first learned to play. I was 15 years old. And I had played the same songs for 20 years. And then I took a guitar lesson. And it was like, oh, there's a lot of more chords up there. And it was really great to get with a teacher, to learn what I was doing okay, to learn what I could do better. And it just helped me grow. I felt more successful. I felt like I could hold my own just playing with a group. And that was fun. So even though I had some skill, I knew it was time to get more instruction. Well, this is what I do with people for their lives, right? So I'm a big believer in getting the education we need to move forward. I do it myself. I was studying jujitsu with a certain coach, and it was time for that work with that coach to end. And now I have a new one, and I'm thrilled. Every time I'm with him, I learn, I grow, I expand. I see the places that I really need help and support. And he helps me to look at the work, to look at my program as a learning, not I did it wrong or I did it right or I won or I lost. But he's saying every day, he'll say, what did you learn? And the mature student is always learning and saying, wow, I did not see this about my life. I'm ready to grow. I did not see this about my skills, that I'm stuck in this area. And this is what we're desiring. Well, this is my hope for you, that as the new year is unfolding, you're going to really think about, I don't want another year like last year. How can I grow? How can I move forward? Even if it was a good year, could it be better? Yeah, so really getting conscious about that. So you can see how this is an internal process. It's probably going to require you to think a little bit. It's probably going to require you some prayer, some quiet time, like taking a walk. I have several clients that I say to them, did you make time to go outside this week and journal and just be at peace with yourself? Just be at peace with yourself. And it's like, it makes a world of difference for them. The other day, I had a busy day, and there's this park I go to. I used to go every Friday because there's a creek back there, and my dog loves to walk, and it's just really, really beautiful. But recently, I was really guided to go out there by myself, and it was a completely different experience because I wasn't taking care of the dog or worried where there are other dogs or picking up, dog waste. And I don't mind doing that, but whatever. It was really nice to simply be there just for me. And it was like 2 hours there felt like a week off. I just was so nurtured by being outside, and it was like, oh, everything's clear that I need to do now. I'm not, my phone's not constantly going off. My email's not going off. I went, oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Right? It was just this total moment of clarity. So as I'm saying, my clients, I'm doing the exact same thing. That's how I know it's good to do. Right? That's how I know it's good to do. So if you haven't done that, friends, in a while, please do that for yourself. Please do that for yourself. Just get outside. In Florida, of course, we're quite lucky because we can be outside 11 and a half months of the year. And there's almost always a time of the day that's beautiful and doable outside. You might say, well, I live in Minot, North Dakota, and, there's snow on the ground. So get out there, get your snowshoes on, bundle up, baby. Yeah. So I hope you're sensing the difference between resolutions and intentions. Usually resolutions are empty wishes. Intentions are based from your soul, from spiritual consciousness.
And I think there's an implied impermanence to resolutions. There's the only person you're letting down is you, I guess. And it's just culturally, it's just it's expected.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about their resolutions in December.
Right.
Nobody looks back and says, "Oh yeah, I kept my resolutions." However, you probably will say, "You know what? I intended, my intention for the year was this."
Yeah.
That's something you can carry through. But like I said, there's an implied cultural, subconscious, whatever, unconscious impermanence to resolutions.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. Like you say, nobody expects you to actually keep them.
Right. Least of all, you don't expect yourself to keep them.
Right. Well, and again, there's in our culture today, you have to almost be a part of some group that's going to hold you accountable because everything's about what you want. Everything is a click away. And so, when things are so easily available, it's hard to realize that sometimes you have to do without certain things because it's going to better your life. Like just because you can have every single thing delivered doesn't mean you should.
Shannon and I, we love the delivery lifestyle and Grubhub and all of that, but things have gotten really crazy lately.
Yep.
Like expensive fees.
Oh, totally.
And we were doing Chipotle, which is just a 10-minute ride.
Reasonable.
But, and so we're like Chipotle, a couple of burritos and some nachos. And it came time, all the fees, tip and everything, it was $75 for ultimately a couple of burritos. And I'm like, if I'm paying $75, I'm going to go to get a steak.
Let's go
I'm not going to get
let's go to Hillstone.
Delivered burritos. And to be honest, something kind of snapped. Like we haven't ordered delivery, DoorDash, whatever since, because I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing paying $75? And I didn't, for the record, but it was a real wake up call for me.
Yeah, it really is. And, I've noticed everything has gone up except salaries, Yeah. It's really an interesting time. And I think, I'm very concerned for low income right now because
and so my bringing that up is less about, the exorbitant cost of delivery and more about just taking an internal look. Why am I doing this? What is it?
Why am I doing it?
Am I just being lazy or whatever? And so that's what the takeaway for me was. Let's save $35 and go spend like $25. Save $50. That same meal would have been $25 if I would have picked it up.
Oh, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and so it was a real kind of gut check for me, and priorities, and that's what that was.
Right, I get that. Well, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. The kind of self-reflection that says this, and so if not this, then what, right? And really, that's what your intentions for the year are about. So everybody always says at the end of the year, "Oh, I can't wait to leave this year." Like I remember after the first COVID year, everybody was like, "Oh, I'm over and done." Every year I do a service called Burning Bowl, where you write what you want to release from the year. And one woman said, I'm releasing my whole journal this year. Sucked,
like dropping a phone book worth of things.
I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
That was 2020 was between COVID and elections and all of that. Woo, that was a doozy.
It was a doozy. Exactly. Yep. So my encouragement to you is just hang in there. And you're probably going to have to take time that no one will understand, and that's okay. You don't have to explain every single choice to everybody around you. This is very personal. It is spiritual. It is going to take time, and it is going to be a real special time for you spiritually to set your course for the new year. Again, I want to encourage you to know you are setting an intention. Those intentions probably will become dreams and goals. They may even become vision, and that's what we're going to talk about for the month. But right now, I want you to just start getting clear with what do you want your year to be about. And then as you do your individual work going forward, you can listen to the show. You could take my class, the Dream Big, Live Big, which is a wonderful, wonderful course to help you get clear. then you are much more likely, number one, to accomplish the goals that are set before you. Number two, when things that are unexpected happen, you will be able to navigate them because of the spiritual work you're doing, and you won't be so easily knocked off center. I remember when I shared with you, we were talking at the beginning of the show about that financial thing a year ago. When that happened, I said on the show, I'm happy to admit it, I said it was about 24 hours that I had to work with this spiritually. First, I thought it was a mistake. Then I started calling the bank. Then I started calling my realtor. Then I called the county and the city. And I did all the work. I said, I'm going to totally figure this out. And then when I realized I have to pay this, I said, okay, Spirit, here we go. I don't know how we're going to do it. But you know what? I know the prosperity principles, and I'm going to tithe, and I'm going to give to where I'm spiritually fed, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to manage my spending. I'm going to stay in integrity with what I make and how I give and what I give and how much money I spend on eating out and not having a car payment. All those things were totally in alignment. And now looking back, what I can see is at the end of this year, I ended the year, which is not explainable, I ended the year with no debt, only my home, no credit card debt, and all is well, right? All is well. And I attribute that to the spiritual work and the spiritual teachings, just 100%. I mean, did I have to show up for myself? Yes. Did I have to make adjustments? Yes. But I also felt so in the flow because of that. People who give to the show, people who give to, to my work in various ways was a total blessing. No, a total blessing. It paid our studio fee. So this is just, I want you to hear though, what started though the year was spiritual intentions. It was dreams and goals. It was grounded in spiritual consciousness so that when life sent a curveball, I was able to manage. Mm-hmm. And this is what I hope for you. I don't want you friends to be knocked off center or get so disappointed because you didn't do the work on the front end. So do the work on the front end. Getting quiet, beginning to think about what would you like to accomplish this year? Think about it. Work with it in your time of prayer. Get outside, do a walk, get some space to feel into this and see what's wanting to move in and through you this year. I know for me, I will share in 2023, I am going to be working with more children and more people in the area of sports and athletics. This is fun for me. I enjoy it. And it will be a real gift to me, I'm sure, in ways I don't even realize yet. So this is my intention. And it already started manifesting at the end of last year. I think I shared a little bit of that. So friends, God is your source in this. So please, please take the time. Please know that you're worth taking this time. Because what I 100% believe is that within you is this divine intelligence, and this divine intelligence works in and through your soul, gets that message to your mind, and helps you move forward on the journey. So we thank you for listening. We bless you on the journey, dear friend, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.